Jesus has this story. It's about a person who's going on a trip, gets mugged. And the story isn't just about the person who gets mugged. The story is those moments in all of our lives where we're beat up, things haven't gone well, we're sick, we're lonely. And as the person's sitting there, I was just on holidays in Utah for a dirt bike trip. One of the guys we were riding with was riding at the back, and he makes a mistake, and he flips his bike, and it lands on him and pins him underneath the bike. And we're all in front, so we just keep going. The level of fear he felt. When we finally got him, he was like, what the? It's those moments in life. Life isn't going well. You need help. And it says, the story says, as the person's laying there, as we are laying there, one of our friends walks by, sees us beaten and battered, sees us needing love, and just keeps walking. And then a religious person walks up. But religious people, those people are supposed to stop and help. No. It's like, whoa, I'm going to go to the other side of the room. And then someone called a Samaritan. Now, again, in our minds, Samaritan is a person who helps somebody who needs help. In the story, that's not what it means at all. Samaritan means the person who's this person's enemy. The person who shouldn't stop and help. The person who doesn't love them because they're from a different group. That person walks up and sees us on the ground, and gives us what we need. The phone call, the hug, the understanding that we need space. The story says the man lifted up the mugged man and carried him to an inn, paid for all of his health care. It's a story about how Jesus sees the world needing to be. A world where we love each other. Not love in the sense of, I love you, but in the sense of, I am loving towards you. The Samaritan says, we're from a different group. Maybe they could love each other. I don't know. But the story isn't about a state. The story is about an action. And the question Jesus has is, will you love the people around you? And will you let them love you? If you take a step back and you ask yourself, do I want a world where people are lying mugged on the ground and people just walk by and ignore them? Is that the world we want to live in? Or do we want to live in a world where the people who are mugged, people walk by and say, no, I see you. I see that you need help. I see that you're struggling. And I want to do something about it. That's the world that Friends Church is trying to inspire us to. We exist to inspire us to that kind of behavior. And we exist to inspire people around us to that kind of behavior. And when we look at it, we think, being loving towards each other, how could that be bad? Wouldn't that be a better way to live? And the question this series has been trying to address is, why aren't we there? Why is it that sometimes I see somebody on the side of the road and I walk by? Worse yet, why do I sometimes see the people I love the most and I couldn't care less? I told you the story about coming home, long day. My window of tolerance was like, and my wife, God bless her, is doing proper care for her new tattoo. But the smell of the ointment she's putting on like drives me through the roof. Like I cannot handle it. Now, think about it. She's in this space of going, I'm just doing what the tattooist told me to do. What do? Am I loving? Or am I like, oh, babe, can I get you something? No. I run and hide in the bedroom, lock the door, and sit there for an hour. How is it that the person I love the most, I'm now hiding from in the bedroom? How is it that you as parents, not that you ever do this, but let's just say theoretical parents, you yell at your kids? Probably not the most loving behavior you've ever had, but sometimes those little... And you look at them and you're going, oh, I can't believe I just did that. Why is it that sometimes you're doing work and you're going, hey, this isn't a fair environment? And so suddenly, instead of doing your best work, you're kind of phoning it in. Why is it that we can go from this place of loving makes sense, caring for the people, to I am so selfish that I just want to lock myself in a bedroom for an hour to regulate myself? Why can I justify raising my voice at people I love? Why can't we live in love? The whole point of the series was to give you at least one answer. There's many answers, but there's one answer. It comes from the word threat. And we've been calling it relationship. That thing inside of you that takes you from, I want to be loving, to I'm not behaving that way at all. It's actually a fairly well-known mechanism. We've used specifically what we call attachment theory. If you're avoidant, too much closeness will feel like threat. And you will go from, I love this person, I care about people, I want to take water to the world, to, it's all about me and I need to lock myself in a bedroom. If you're anxious, it will go from, I want to be close to that person, to, oh, I'm getting a whiff of abandonment. And I'll either freak out on them to try and bring them closer, or I will run away and leave them before they can leave me and be like, I don't even need you. Come closer, come. That was Jeff, right? I can't believe you're flirting, Kathy. I can't believe it. You're so horrible. Okay, no, you're supposed to tell me how much you love me. Come on. The threat takes us from this sense of, I want to be living as love. I want to be, what does she call it? Everyday moments of divinity. When we love the people around us. To this place of, I don't even know who I'm being. I don't even know why I'm acting this way. We call this space stage one. And you characterize it by this framing of I against them. Can you feel it? I can't believe they did that. I can't handle them. We've all been in stage one. We know that feeling. It's not a good feeling. I asked Alessandra to play two songs. Two songs that capture this feeling. When we go from, wait, I believe in this makes sense to me, taking care of people, Good Samaritan, I got it, love it. Why is it that I can't behave that way now? It's kind of one of those, let's clap for the performance, but the songs feel sad, don't they? That's the thing with stage one. We start off with this loving stage where we're caring and we're for each other and we're with each other, to the stage one where it's, hear the words of a broken heart. Hear the words of a lonely person. The other one, I'm sitting across from someone at coffee and it's like, who do you think you are, you SOB? Like, don't be telling me what to do. You're not the king of anything, so shut your cake hole. That's the feeling of stage one. It's coming into work and looking at everyone as your enemy. It's living in a world where the entire world knows what you want and they're not giving it to you. It's dark. It's painful. When I'm in this space with people I care about, it's like the relationship takes 10 times the energy. I come away exhausted, on edge, needing to lock myself in the bedroom for longer. What does stage one look like for you? Can you feel when you snap into that phase? The question I will keep asking myself is, how do we get out? I know how to get in. Take people who are caring, doesn't matter if they're like family, friends, partners, it doesn't matter. Throw in some threat, boom. Almost all of them snap into stage one. I against they. Two groups. There's me, there's everybody else. And we're not together. I was talking with a lady. This was a couple years ago. We did this course called Love Languages. Has anyone ever heard of Love Languages? The idea behind it is there's certain behaviors people can do for you that feel more loving than others. So for the economist people of relationships, more bang for your buck. She was sitting me down and she's like, look, I took the Love Languages test. I told it to my partner and he's not doing it. I literally no, I don't want you to do that one. I want you to do this one. What the hell am I supposed to do with this person? Can you feel the I against they? In this stage, it's the against portion that's the problem. They're against me. How do I make him? How do I force this? Why the heck isn't the world bending to my will and making this happen? And it comes from two places. If you want to figure out how to get out of this stage, there's one of two answers. If you're on the anxious side or the avoidance side. If you're on the anxious side, it's this. Start to become aware of who you are. The anxious in you wants to hide that. If I show the world who I am, I might be too much and they will leave. And so I turn down myself. Do this long enough, and if I ask you, what do you like? You'll say, I don't know. Do you prefer this or this? I don't know. I was talking with one guy going through a tough part in his life, marriage. As we talked, I realized he would say yes to anything. It was how his family taught him how to be in relationship. To be loving is to say yes to everything. Do you want to go to the zoo? Yes. Do you actually want to go to the zoo? Yes. Deep down inside, do you want to go to the zoo? I don't know. Yes? Don't put up your hand, but can you feel some of that in you? We think that if we turn down ourselves enough, they will be pleased with us and we can get out of this gross stage one place. The problem is, you're not actually there. He would say, hey, can you do the dishes? Yes. Did he even check in to see if he actually wanted to do the dishes? No. Did he actually check in to say, do I think the dishes need to be done? No. He would just promise to his partner, yes, I'll do the dishes. Partner would come home later on. Do you think the dishes were done? Of course not. There's nothing inside of him that's motivating him to do the dishes. He's just trained to say yes. And then when he doesn't do it, he's wondering, why is my partner so mad at me? I said yes. Isn't that what they need from me? Can you see how this goes horribly wrong? And yet, we do it. over and over. Oh, I don't like conflict. Oh, that part of me is kind of gross, so I hide that. Oh, I'm a people pleaser. It's a way to try and get out of stage one that almost, I'm going to say almost never works, but I've never seen it work in all of my time in this job. I've never once seen someone suppress themselves enough to get out of stage one. Because at some point you can't suppress anymore. Now if you're on the other side, if you're avoidant, we know who we are. In fact, our problem is the world doesn't know who we are, and screw them, I got to take care of myself. They never do anything for me. I got to do it all for myself. Have we asked? Of course not. They're just going to say no. Well, have you asked? You see, the way we get out of stage one, we try and shortcut it, is we just take care of ourselves. What was the first song? Sitting by myself. This is a song of a broken heart. I'm trying to be over here and take care of myself and try and be okay, but the reality is I'm just stuck in stage one. It's me against the world. And the only way out for us is to look at other people and say, what do they want? I will tell you, when I'm in a bad place, I would bet every dollar I have that my wife won't do X. Make dinner for me. Babe, would you make dinner? In my mind, there is no way she'll want to do that for me. Do you know how many times she said no to making dinner for me when I finally asked? But I am convinced that I know who she is, and I know what she's going to say, and it's going to be ugly, and so I'm not even going to ask. I know you were thinking, oh, I bet you he's going to have this really easy way to get out of stage one, and it's going to be super easy, and he's just going to do this thing, and then everything's going to be fine. No. It's the core of the wound itself. It's looking at our relationship and going, oh, geez, that very thing is the thing I have to work on. The very thing that I'm so convinced of, the very thing that triggers me and has me behaving in ways that I don't even understand, I don't even like. If you're stuck in stage one, my encouragement for you today is this. Start to get connection with self and start to get connection with them. You don't know what they think. And there's nothing wrong with you. Okay, so let's magically say, I snap my fingers and you all are able to do that. We're all self-realized. Then we start to realize there's something else going on. Next stage, we start to go, okay, there's me and there's people around me. But first stage is characterized by being against. The second stage is characterized by being together. It looks like this. Hey babe, would you make dinner today? I'm slammed. Yeah, for sure. Actually, could you bring home milk? Because I'm going to use it to make the dinner. Yeah, that works for me. Your needs, their needs. In balance. We call it we. And I gotta say, it is way nicer to be in we than stage one. Most of your relationships will be in stage two. I hope. If they're not, I'm sorry. It's a tough place. Most of your relationships you will live in stage two, where your needs are present and their needs are present, and you figure out how to work together. It doesn't matter if it's your friends, your family, your colleagues at work, your kids when they get older. Kids are a funny one. It's beautiful. I asked Alessandra to play some songs that feel like stage two. It's not always easy but it's easier. And it has this flavor of oneness, of together, of seeing each other and being there. It's the Good Samaritan who sees someone on the side of the road and says, oh, no, I can take care of you if you can take care of me. We are one, but we're not the same, but we carry each other. We carry each other. It's the feeling of this stage 2. It's the sense of we have each other's backs. We don't let someone sit on the side of the road beaten and torn and walk by. So we start off this model of, I want to love my neighbor. That makes sense to me. Living that way as a society makes sense. I get it. When I feel it, I love it. And then something threatens us. We flip our lids. Get out of our window of tolerance. Was anyone here last week when me and Jeff tried that crazy experiment of let's just wing a message off the top of our heads? I loved playing him and Kathy. It was interesting though. You noticed, I talked about this moment, Jeff him and his wife are out with some friends, and the friend's really charming, and his wife starts laughing at the friend's jokes, a lot. A lot. And Jeff is like, when I ask him, did he flip his lid, he's kind of like, what? I'm like, oh, dude, you are so flipped. You can't even remember your name at this point. And so they're sitting in the car, right, in his truck, and he's doing all the things. I can't believe you. No, I can't even talk to you. You can hear Jeff, big emotions, right? It's not a bad Jeff impression, is it? And Kathy's going what do you mean? I didn't even flirt. What are you talking? I don't even know what we're talking about here. Jeff completely flipped, right? They're married. They're supposed to be this love each other. They're in a car screaming at each other. Completely stage 1. I can't believe you. No, I didn't do it. You. And so we asked Jeff, calm. What would you want her to say? Remember I had him play Kathy? He's like, I'm sorry you feel that way. And we're all like, whoa, I'm sorry you feel that way. How about you're wrong? But then we have this moment where he comes right in. And he's like, I am so sorry I did that to you. I am so sorry. I never want you to feel that way. And we all had this moment, just like it feels right now, where we're like, oh, that feels better. That's moving from stage 1 to stage 2. I see you have flipped your lid. And I'm going to attend to you until we can both be present in this room. Can't you just see Jeff? Well, that did feel nice, but I'm still upset at you. She's like, I'm so sorry. Then his body starts to soften and he turns around. 2 days later, he's still like, remember that? That was really upsetting. I know, I'm so sorry. Okay. Do you see how this works? Not I against you, together. Can you tell me what it looked like when I was flirting with that person? Well, you were laughing at his jokes. Inside her head, she's like, well, he's funnier than you, but... The we answer says, I'm sorry. I'll make sure I pay attention to that now. Now, if it was just one-sided, that's where the conversation would end. But you see, we're in we. She can say, can you do me a favor? If ever you see me kind of over laughing at someone's jokes, can you just give me a little kick under the table? So I know? Well, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, that'd be perfect, because then I'll know, hey, this is not feeling good for you. Do you see how the we works? It's not, you were wrong, therefore, that's stage 1. It says, here's what I need. Here's what you need. Once we're regulated. Remember, if your lid's flipped, if their lid's flipped, your only option is to get the lid back together. Then you can have a conversation. So 2 days later, when Jeff's not that's when they can have this conversation. We says, if it's not good for you, I don't want it. It's got to be good for both of us. The conversation usually just goes like this. Hey, babe, can you make dinner for me? Is there anything you would need from me to make that a really good yes, where you'd feel really happy doing that? It doesn't wait for the other person. It reaches out to the other person and says, hey, I sent you a report this week. Did you get it the way you needed it to? I need you to do something. Do you have what you need from me to do that? It says, I have a need and you have a need, and I want to have them both out in the open. Do you see how stage 1, you hide that? You either hide yours or you ignore theirs. Stage 2 says, no, I know you have them. Can you imagine? So I'm a pretty strong avoidant person. My wife is, of course, perfectly secure, but maybe with a slight tinge of, on the other side, slight. I'm usually like, I know what I want instantly. One of the things I have to work on in the we is to say, hey, babe, what would you like? But then not demand it immediately. That's what I want. I want to know the answer right now, and then we'll figure this out. We've done. You're not supposed to laugh out loud, people. This is your inside laugh, and do not elbow any partners or send any information to anyone. So I say, hey, what do you need? And she usually says, I don't know. And I go, okay. And then I just chill. Now, at the beginning, I was like, now I go, no, for her to bring her best self, she needs a minute. It's hard for her to go inside and find her and know that. Usually 30 seconds later, she's like, pow, and nails it. But if I demand it quicker, in we look at the other person and say, what do you need? Are you a little avoidant and you need a little space? Great. I'm going to go for coffee. I'll be back in an hour. We'll chat then. Do you see how the we works? Most of our relationships will be in this space. The reason we told you guys about avoidance and anxious is because now you can look at somebody and be like, oh, I know what's going on over there. Okay, they're a little anxious. I'm just going to move a little closer towards them. Hey, how's it going? Oh, they're avoidant. Okay, we're going to do one of these. Maybe one of those. How about I go away and I'll come back in a bit? That's we. Most of your relationships will be in this space of I need, they need, and how do we balance it? And if that was all you got from this series, you figured out, okay, who am I? Who are the people around me? Got it. Okay, how is my relationship hitting me and pulling me out of this space into this stage 1? Got it. This would be good, right? You're like, oh, okay, I'm figuring out my dynamic. I figured out all that stuff. But here's the thing. We're here to inspire you to a spirituality. And in spirituality, there's a stage 3. It looks like this. Jesus' students are hanging out with him. They're having a big, rally. Tens of thousands of people are hanging out. And at some point, the students say to Jesus, it's been a long day. There's no McDonald's where they are. They're in the middle of nowhere. And they say to Jesus, hey, Jesus, we should send these people home so they can get some supper. Anyone feel like that's a pretty solid, nice thing to think about, right? They're thinking about somebody else and maybe about themselves. I would also like to go home and get some dinner. Feels kind of nice, doesn't it? And you'd expect Jesus to say, nailed it. You guys are golden. Yeah, you're paying attention to you. You're paying attention to them. We're in stage 2. We got it. But Jesus says something different. He says, I'm going to paraphrase this. He says, why do you think it is that their hunger is not your responsibility? Why do you see their hunger is their problem and your hunger as your problem? Why don't you do something about their hunger? You see, in the Samaritan story, the man is mugged. The Samaritan comes up to him, again, Samaritan enemy, comes up to him and says, holy crap, bandages him up, takes him to a place, pays for his care. Interesting side note on this story. Then the Samaritan leaves to continue his work and says, I'll come back later. Talk about honoring your eye, huh? In the middle of this whole story, he goes away on a business trip because that's what he needs to do. Interesting. Let's go back. He's taking care of the person, and he goes, no, this person will never be able to give me anything in return. This isn't my partner where I say, I'll make you dinner if you do the dishes, or, I'll regulate you if you give me some space. It's not that. It's a relationship where there is nothing coming back to him. He's going to give and give and give, and maybe he'll get a thank you. The text never actually even says there's a thank you there. In stage 3, we realize that even though stage 2 is beautiful and most of our lives will be there, the idea that I am here and they are there and we are separate isn't a spiritual answer. Let me say that again. The idea that we're physically separate, that's a stage 2 answer. A stage 3 answer says, no, we are one. Your hunger is my hunger. Your sadness is my sadness. That person I see on the side of the road's distress is my distress. We can live our lives separate, and we can have beautiful relationships in stage 2. But what Friends Church is trying to inspire us to is to realize that the physical separateness is just one way to look at it. That we are spiritually one. In the first stage, we do our work. We figure out who we are and who they are to get out of hell, right? Stage 1 is this place where it's I against them. It's fighting. It's trying to get someone to do something for you and fighting to get away. And it's just ugly. And so we do our work to go, I want to get out of hell. Hell sucks. In stage 2, we can live there and it's beautiful and you'll have profound and glorious relationships. But the reality is there will be times when there can't be any reciprocity. Where you will do something as love. Because you realize that when you love the world, you're loving yourself. If we see us all connected. We do the work because in healing us, we are healing the world. Think about a world this way. I don't need reciprocity anymore. I can give without needing. I've healed to the point where I don't get triggered anymore. I don't get thrown into stage 1 all the time. I live in stage 2. I understand that. But then I live in this space where I am healthy. I am healed. And as such, I can now reach out to people, even the people I love. It's hardest with the people we love. Strangers, whatever. Oh, change your tire? No big deal. If my friend who consistently doesn't bring a spare tire and is calling me all the time to fix his tire because he didn't do what I told him to do, dude, you're going to get a little bit of tough love here. When we're in this spiritual place, we can give without needing. You can't shortcut it. If you try and give without needing in stage 1, hell. Stage 2 doesn't work that way. But if you do the work of stage 1, stage 2, if you deal with your relationship so that you're not stuck here anymore, you can be in love, you realize, no, I can love without needing. Can you hear that in Jesus' words? He talks about the first shall be last and the last shall be first. It's this kind of thing that says, you think you guys are separate and there's some sort of hierarchy? It says, when you love the least of these, you've loved me. think about these lines. When you heal yourself, when you are healthy, you make the world healthy. We call love without needing taking water. That's the metaphor. And we've existed as an organization to try and inspire you, well, actually me, probably more than you guys, me, and then you on the side, to be able to take water. I got to get through stage 1, learn how to deal with that, figure out how to live in stage 2, and then I have moments. I can love without needing. I can take water. If you want to understand why we did this series, a side benefit is to make your relationships better. It's a pretty big change, but whatever. It's ultimately to inspire you to this third stage, where you can literally heal the world. That's worth doing. That's what you can do if you're willing. It's not easy. Stage 1, I against them. I can't believe you need to do this. Screw you. It's all about me. It's all about you. Stage 2, we start to live in balance. Okay, I would need this from you to get this. Okay, how do we live in balance? Beautiful. Stage 3 says, that idea that we're separate is a physical idea. The spiritual answer says, we are one. And the work we do is divine. What I ask for, what we ask for, is to explore this part of your life. Some of you will do it by working on stage 1. That's great. It's part of it. Deal with your relationship. Some of you will be in stage 2 and you're like, I just finally got out of hell. Leave me alone, Clausen. But I ask you, look into the eyes of the people around you and ask yourself, if we are one, if there's no difference between us, if there's no separation, what in their life could I help with love? Where could I take water? I believe, folks, this is how we literally heal the world.